Geno, how much does that one hurt for you guys, knowing where you guys were at and that you kind of lost control of this playoff situation?
Yeah, that hurts. It hurts whenever you lose. It hurts whenever you lose. And, we wanted to control our own destiny. Obviously, like you said, we can't do that anymore. But, there's no time for us to kind of feel sorry for ourselves. We got another game to play. We still got a chance, still got an opportunity. So, next week's going to be big for us. And, I think the message is to keep going, as always, to keep going and keep fighting.
Did you have any sense of the blindside hit there? Obviously, you lost the ball. It looked like you were still trying to throw.
Yeah, he just God made a good play. I mean, it's a game full of plays. I mean, we play. I don't know how many snaps we had today. I felt like we were clean for the most part, and that when they got us. But again, those things happen in football games, and I don't think one play per se can be the difference in the game. I think we had more opportunities to make it happen, and we just didn't get it done.
You said that there's no time to feel sorry for yourselves. What's the process going to be these next couple of days to get back?
Yeah, I think the process is to go back to work. That's the main thing for me is, man, I'm going to keep working hard. I'm going to work my butt off, get back to the weight room in the morning, get back to the film room, figure out a way to be better next week. And that's all I can do, is continue to work my tail off, continue to help the guys get better, continue to lead this team. Like I said, we got a chance, we got opportunities still in front of us. And so nobody's going to feel sorry around here. We're going to pick it up and keep going.
Outside of the fumble, what were maybe the biggest issues in your mind on offense today?
I think just overall, if you want to be honest, man, teams are playing keep away. You got teams running the ball, milking the clock in the first quarter. That's been the past 2 weeks. I think it's the ultimate sign of respect when teams are doing that. I think when they're playing, a bunch of zones, they're not going to play us in man coverage. They're going to try their best to keep us on the sideline because they know how explosive we are. I think, again, not turning the ball over, that's a big factor in the game. And then overall, being better on third downs. I think we were 3 for 9. That's not up to our standard. And then, finishing in the red zone. That's some things that, again, we talk about every week, but it's got to be better. And that's all we can do is continue to fight and get better.
You guys obviously had really big kind of emotional cutback wins the last 2 weeks. Do you think any of that kind of took anything out of you guys this week, leading into preparation or anything this week?
No, I think we were prepared. I think guys came out and were ready. I know I was. I felt like I was ready for the game and really excited for this one. And like I said, it's a tough football game. The Steelers are playing for their season as well. It came down to, a couple plays here and there. It was a really close game, really hard-fought game between, two good teams. And today it was their day. We got things that we got to clean up on our side of the ball. We got things that we got to clean up as a team. And that's all we need to focus on is getting better. Nothing else besides getting better.
Geno, you got a front-row seat to some of the plays that Ken made today. What did you kind of see on some of those big runs he had, some of the jukes and stuff that he was able to make out there?
Shoot, man, I mean, that's Ken Walker. We've seen that all year. We've seen that since he's gotten here. And he continues to show up, get the ball in his hands, and watch the magic happen. Matter of fact, go get a block. Don't watch the magic happen. Get a block because that guy's going to make something happen. And, we're blessed to have a guy like that on our team. I tell him every single day, man, he's one of the best I've seen with the ball in his hands. And we got to keep getting it to him, because he's that special.
Geno, when Rodgers down, it was also big numbers. So you had a couple of Stone first that comes in. You talk about how they stepped up and gave you a chance.
Yeah, Stone and Olu, all season, they've stepped up when their opportunities have arisen. And today was another example of that. I thought, both Olu and Stone stepped in and, got to it and things kept rolling. I thought those guys played a great game. I thought they helped us get down the field. I know it's not easy. Anytime you got to step in, coming in cold off the sideline. But their mentality, I thought made it happen. And those guys were ready. They understood their assignments, and they came out and they did what they had to do.
You mentioned that you kind of talked to us about third down, red zone stuff pretty much all year. What do you make of those things, again, being an issue in a game that you had to have this late in the year?
Man, it's football. Shoot, they're going to stop us sometime. That's one of the best red zone defenses in football. They got great players on their side. You're not going to score every single time you touch the ball, although that's the goal. The reality is that, sometimes they stop you. And, I think one of those trips down there, we had 2 chances to score. We had the ball, in the right place, and just the play didn't happen. And so we always say it's a game of inches. And, sometimes, the ball doesn't bounce your way. And, you can't feel sorry about it. You got to keep going.
This time last year, you guys were 8-8. looking for some help to get into the playoffs. We're in the exact same situation this year. I mean, what lessons from last year can you pull that'll help you out going into week 18?
Yeah, again, I never imagined we'd be in this situation again, but here we are. And so what we can do is continue to fight, get ready for next week. Arizona played a great game today, came up with a win, and we know they're going to fight all the way to the end. And so next week's not going to be an easy game. We got to go out there and in their place and make it happen. And, we're the type of team that's going to always bounce back. We got the right leadership. We got the right coaches, right players, and we're going to make it happen. We're going to find a way to make it happen.